Once again, I want to welcome every one of you to another important session. So for today, we will be going through our assignments and projects. I believe you are quite aware that this program was organized by the Source in Business Mentorship, and the major purpose is to ensure that every one of you have a skill as it has to do with freelancing. So for those who are newly joining, do well to visit the Sourcing Business YouTube channel so you get in touch with the previous classes which were recorded. So straight up to what we'll be looking at today, I'll be sharing my screen. For the name, I am Williams, and I do cloud computing. Thank you. Okay, I believe quite well you can see my screen right here, every one of you. For previous classes, we were able to look into cloud computing in general, where we pondered on the theoretical aspect and both the practical applications. So for the upcoming assignments and projects, which will be posted to our respective groups, this is a guide. So straight up, we have our applications of cloud computing in business, group assignments like project guide. Every one of you who registered for the cloud computing class have been grouped in different categories. So it will also be given a good note, as this information will also be passed across on the platform. So quickly, we will be looking at the agendas. So one of the purposes for the assignment is to give you a more practical exposure on what we looked upon in previous meetings. Like I said, for you to access it, you must be a registered participant on the Sourcing Mentorship platform. Ensure you are signed up, and also go to the YouTube channel, access it, look for the cloud computing video that was recorded in previous classes, so you will be in touch with what we will be doing. So this is our agenda. This forms the basis for our agenda for this very meeting. So quickly, I will be taking you on part of what we'll be looking at. Some persons are sending some messages. Okay, this is just for the assignments. Okay, so now on the assignments will be shared to the different groups. So basically, I just want to share some information that I believe it will be important and relevant to every one of us. So on the aspect of the introduction agenda, please take notes. I want you to be well guided by all we'll be doing in the course of this program. So for the aspect of introduction, cloud computing generally is an emerging technology. And one of the importance of it is that it plays a vital role in today's technology sector. You will agree with me that the world is changing rapidly. Day by day, people are changing more and more, most especially in ICT. Cloud computing has become part of this bigger shift. And for this purpose, I have that passion to share my own knowledge in this field to also enable you to do business like never before, for you to be able to take advantage of this space And at the end of the day, you acquiring the skill and becoming a freelancer. Of course, you can see in our agenda, apart from the introduction, I want to take some minutes to explain cloud computing as it has to do with the banking sectors, the education sector, the healthcare sector, the government sector, and also for you who is now a freelancer. This program was organized, to uplift freelancers. It's a good one, as you will also be equipped. Okay, so quickly on that very note, right here on my screen, talking about the importance of this when it comes to your business. Like I said, cloud computing is part of the bigger shift, which is that the center of gravity of when you hear of things like big data business analysis, as many of them, which is now moving outside of businesses and into a wider ecosystem. In our previous classes, I pondered on what is known as cloud computing, and that's in the ecosystem. For instance, if I'm to go to the previous agenda, one of those agendas, we pondered on what is known as the cloud ecosystems. For example, those of us who are science students, our biology, we learned about ecosystem, which has to do with our environment, and this is also applicable here because the cloud is like an environment which is accessible on the internet, and that's its ecosystem. So when I am talking about outside of business and into a wider ecosystem of businesses, of corporations, of organizations, you should know what I'm talking about. Of service providers, of course, cloud computing has service providers. And I don't want to confuse you with when I will be, looking into the aspect of the AWS, Amazon Web Service, which is a recognized service provider, that of the Microsoft, and many others like the GCP, that's the Google Cloud Platform. All these are cloud computing service providers. Just a review of what we have done before now. So still on the introduction, it shifts you, into this wider ecosystem where you can operate your business, have a large community base with clients. So those of you who are Nigerians, there are possibilities, there are advantages, and also in whatever country, especially Africa. So there is always a provision, a cloud provision, which will enable your business, which could be a small business, a medium business, or in whatever category, to outsource some of IT skills, which will otherwise have to boost your business. Now, businesses can benefit from cloud computing. For example, from the greater storage that it provides, the computing capacity, as well as the expertise of cloud service providers, which have made mention of the AWS, the GCP, we have Oracle, we have the Alibaba, a lot of them, the IBM Cloud, and so on and so forth, Microsoft Azure. So all these providers in areas such as IT management, security, maintenance, and so on. So this will guide you. It's more like an introduction, which we have done before. So you get to know, not when by the time I start sharing and sending in the assignment we'll be working on a project, you should be guided on, have a picture and click. Africa, permit me to say, is now using internet service This internet service could be provided by local internet service providers. And the good thing is that these service providers do not have, let's say they might not have commitment or agreement with users for the security aspect. But cloud service providers like AWS, the GCP, ensure security and privacy of data. And with cloud computing, you'll be able to access, being able to do computation for your business, as the providers, also provides those very features. Like in previous class, I said that there are two kinds of users when it comes to cloud computing, that we have the end users. I made mention of the end users. I want those of you who are following to go back to that very video and get to see, what we talked about on that aspect. So why I'm saying this is because cloud computing also provides services like computation. They provide software. Many of you have heard of software. You've been able to access your data, to store your information. And these do not really require end user knowledge of the physical location and configuration of the system that delivers that service. And that's the major reason why I do not want to ponder much on the cloud service providers as well. Okay. So the cloud service basically has three categories. Many of you have heard of IaaS. That's one of the category which has to do with the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, that's the PaaS, and software as a service, that's the SaaS. And this is very important as it has to do with what I often refer to as business as a service. Now, the cloud service providers, one of their duty is that they process it, store, network, or they have to do with the processing, storage, networks, and other fundamental computing resources. And the purpose is to allow the cloud customers, they do we call the cloud customers. You know who customers are to your business. So the purpose of this song is to allow the cloud customers to be able to use, or to allow the cloud customers so they can use those with a computer, those which has internet connectivity, which is connected, to access. For example, if we are to look into an e-commerce site, for example, here in Africa, we have the likes of Jumia in my country, Conga, and a lot of them. Those customers have to be able to access your business on such platform. That's just an example of, a business which is making use of the cloud computing space. So it's good to mention all this so you get to be guided. So this is just an introduction, and it allows the cloud customers, like I said, to deploy and run the software. Now they provide infrastructure, and customers can use those only with a connected computer, like I said. As this will help them, facilitate the use of advanced and update technology with little investment and with the knowledge you'll be getting from this training. Like I said, there are two kinds of users. Go to the previous recorded class to find out these two kinds of users as far as cloud computing is concerned. And one good thing is that the users don't need a software and hardware service personnel in your office before you can be able to start maintaining the infrastructure and software. No. Cloud computing have already made it easy. It has shifted that cost, to remote data centers that will benefit you as you run your business. So we'll be looking straightly on cloud computing in the banking sector. So this is very, very important because cloud computing have indeed changed the way customers interact with banks. Every one of us have a bank account. We have a bank where we are registered customer with a bank, saving our money, getting our loans, and doing all our financial dealings. And migration to the suitable cloud computing model, most especially for banks, has indeed offered several benefits. One thing is also to understand the necessary procedures involved in migrating your business to the cloud. And the assignments and projects will guide us in that regards. Like I've always mentioned that in a business that there are certain things you need to understand. Every business, certain things it involves. Though businesses differs by their industry type and also the business type. That's when I'm talking about the ownership structure. And for industry type, I'm talking about the sector which it falls in. And this is majorly one of the reasons I've singled out some of the popular sectors here in Africa. So for you to be a good freelancer in cloud computing, setting up for businesses, you need to have a solid knowledge as it relates to these different sectors. I believe that's clear. Okay. So the first step for the banking, sectors towards cloud computing adoption was opting for private cloud. They make use of private cloud as it gives them more control, more, increasing their flexibility and reducing complexity. So today the banks can also alter their resource configuration. We have resource configuration. I will be working on the application. I'll show you how to do some necessary configurations. So one of the reasons is to match the changes in the demand of their service, because there are a lot of service and competition out there. So the security aspect is also important. And the risks of security breaches in the private cloud. In our previous class, I explained the different cloud models, cloud deployment models and services. And I made mention that as far as cloud computing is concerned, that we have the private cloud, the public cloud, the community cloud, the hybrid cloud. I made mention of all these. So go back to the class recorded. If you're not registered, endeavor to register on the platform so you get to access our YouTube channel, so you get in touch to know most of these I am talking about. So quickly, because of time, using private clouds, banks can operate at high transaction volumes without slowing the processes and without overloading the network. That's one of the reasons why you notice that in banks, they try to meet up. Some banks, you go long queue due to network issue. This private cloud. It's security conscious. So the services become more efficient due to the dedicated resources of each unit and improving the customer experience. Now, private clouds offer safety and affordability as the resources are rented and not purchased. Remember, I told you about cloud computing. It's just like a house. You go and rent the house and you're making payment. Here in cloud, it might be referred to as subscriptions. It's either you're making your subscriptions on a monthly basis or on an annual basis. So this is also applicable, so take note of that. So the banking sector applications are very critical, and making use of the private cloud, it provides increased security, ensuring that the data is not lost. They could always recover their data. So public clouds is also another one. It's also good when it comes to ROI, that's return on investment. Whereas private cloud offers high level of security. So this is very important to your business. Is it a bank? Is it a lending, financial, institution? Okay, you need to go for private So your data will be secure. There are a lot of scammers out there, fraudulent persons working day by day, go on with fraud. So when you are given the privilege to do a setup for a firm falling in such industry, you should ensure that it's a private cloud you're going for. So given the concerns coming up from the aspect of control and security, it's good to option for an incremental approach, which involves using cloud computing to carry out the operations, of the business, and gradually moving to more and more processes to the cloud, depending on the benefits. So that's just a good one, as such kind of business needs to consider a few key aspects, which is essential to thoroughly evaluate all the necessary challenges they might encounter. For other non-banking firms or businesses that do not need strict security and control monitoring, you can go for that of the SaaS, that's the software as a service model. Those are for the cloud computing deployment models. Like I told you, while the service models are that of the private hybrid, like I have pondered on. So that of the IaaS is more suitable for businesses with critical applications that need to be closely monitored. For example, a bank. And banks must keep in mind that the cloud provider must provide transparency in the security aspect to ensure that their whole business dealings is not being, accessed from an external party. So that's just an important information in that regard. So for the education sector is important. Africa has a lot of classrooms, schools at different areas, and it's important for the government to take use of this very space. We have been seeing some e-learning projects being anchored by the government, and it's a good one. It indicates that in the aspect of innovation, it's important for Africans to maximize such opportunities. Such an initiative or opportunity would be superior either than importing desktop softwares. But cloud solutions will be a good one, as it can also be customized in local languages and will also optimize to the existing internet speeds, as well as mobile devices that will be accessible or used by students in Africa. So investing in higher internet data plans for speed is something everyone can afford. So it will result in more practical cloud application development, experience across the country, and also strengthen local software industry. So it's a good one for everyone to take use of that. For the healthcare sector, this is also an important sector, and there is need because cloud makes it far easier to manage and maintain the use of patient records and medical images. For example, a hospital. And as a matter of fact, electronic medical records are or is a good improvement when it comes to cloud, in a way whereby healthcare, providers who don't start using them for their patient records will begin, to see it as a good development. And this approach to data will also improve access and also boost, the security and maintenance of appropriate records. So many medical personnel find cloud computing easier to collaborate and offer care, both as a team, as we'll be working as a team, or it could be as a medical center. It will allow providers to save money, by cutting away necessary costings that have been put in place. So with cloud computing in the healthcare sector, information will become more accessible from various locations. And even if something happens in the hospital, the data will still be preserved and stored. One of the most interesting field of cloud computing, permitting to say, is what is called data analytics. And one of the things it does is that, giving you the ability to track and compute data in the cloud. I am an accountant, and in the field of accounting, as it relates to computerized accounting software, there is what we call real-time reporting. It's also applicable here. In data analytics, tracking and computing data in the cloud in real time, providers can as well, have depth to it for medical research purposes. And this ends up giving you the ability to gather and use data anytime. So healthcare sectors should find it a good one. Even as a freelancer, it's important to take note of all this. And these technologies will help in such a sector. So take note of that. There are a lot of devices today also used in the health. So of course, it's not a new thing to us. Also, we have, that of the government sectors. It's important to the government, and as a freelancer, you ought to take note of that. Government have to focus on the digitalization of every sector of the government agency, and allowing this will, help you too as a freelancer, majorly when you start deploying cloud computing technology on behalf of the government. And as part of what you do, is very important that it make you to be very effective in the IT world and also in the global market. So for I made mention of the e-commerce. So for the e-commerce aspect, cloud computing is also key. It's also key because today e-commerce world have taken over the cloud, and I could come and say, adding and copying this, the spirit or the mind might be saying, why don't I also, we discussed together on cloud computing for e-commerce. Cloud computing for e-commerce. Okay. So, like I was saying, that in addition, in conclusion, to conclude this, that is very important, most especially for e-commerce. You really need to pay attention to the deployments and the service models. So that's the public, hybrid, and the private and others. So majorly e-commerce has a lot of information, and this is being utilized by customers and clients. Today, as relates to this, there are a lot of affiliate marketers who also makes use of this. So I will just say some little service categories of cloud computing in e-commerce. Now, one of the categories is that of software as a service, the SaaS. Now, this is one of the most popular among online retailers. It allows merchants to run direct sales applications, for example, shopping carts in the cloud without their customers having to download or install programs for them to be able to purchase an item. I'm sure you all have purchased an item from an e-commerce site. So what enables you to do that is the software as a service that enables you to do that. Now, the platform as a service as it relates to e-commerce, though it's not that prevalent for the e-commerce world, but it is used for applications and development. There are different applications that also enable them, and it runs on applications like Java, and it's a good one for you to further your knowledge as a freelancer in this category of cloud computing. The infrastructure as a service is also involved. Its primary focus is on providing the different data center infrastructure, which is on demand. For example, I did mention of the Amazon Web Service. And most of these e-commerce or other businesses makes use of it. For example, we know of Netflix. We provide some movie providers. So they store their database on the Amazon Web Service. So for freelancers with cloud computing, is the goal of sourcing business. And it's good to mention that there are a lot of benefits in this aspect. The main activities of IT freelancers are to give support online. Nowadays, there are a lot of freelancing sites like Sourcing Business, Upwork, Fiverr, a lot of them. And, these are all operated globally, like Sourcing Business. All you need is to come over to sign up and also register as a freelancer on the Sourcing Business platform. And this is the target to ensure that you're all well guided. So the African economy will grow. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just an introduction and a summary of our previous classes. As we'll be moving to the group assignments and projects, which will be sent to your classes. A good idea is using cloud computing for business. Many nations today in the world have taken advantage, while others are taking advantage of cloud computing. With this, we can say that the applications, like I say, have been delivered online, and it's something we Africans should take advantage of. Thank you once again as we look into the future of our businesses making use of the cloud. Cloud computing, I can assure you, will increase and ensure your business also gets to upgrade through a new idea of what I call the cloud computing ecosystem. Thank you. Stay tuned. Those of you who have not registered to the platform, and all thanks to Sourcing Business. Thank you.